welcome to the green table. In this video, I want to tell you how to fix your credit report. Fix your credit report. There's a lot of claims made out there about people companies that claim to fix your credit score overnight and raise your credit score 200 points in 24 hours and all kinds of craziness like that. And that's not necessarily true. Well, it's not true at all, to be honest with you. But we want to cover tonight how to fix your credit score by first starting out, helping you understand what makes up your credit score. And then you'll have a starting point, ground zero on what you need to do to fix it, especially in those critical areas. First of all, I'd like to ask you to share the video. Somebody that you know besides yourself needs this information. So take the time to share the video. And I hope you all had a good day. It was a very hectic day for me. But I'm here with you guys, so that's all that matters. So what makes up your credit score? Remember these numbers: 35, 30, 15, 10, and 10. So those numbers are important because they go down in order of importance of what you need to do or where you need to focus when you're fixing your credit report. So what makes that up is 35% of your score is your payment history. That's your, if you're paying on time, your late payments, history of any bankruptcies, judgments, repos, things of that nature. That's 35%. That's why, it has a heavy weight in that area. So if you have any issues in that area, that's where you want to focus on first. 30% is made up of your credit utilization rate. And we talked about this on the last video when we talked about credit. But that's the ratio of the amount of debt that you're using in relation to the amount of credit that's available to you. That's 30%. 15% is your credit history, the length of credit, opening and closing accounts also affects that. And then your average age of your accounts also. The average age of all of your accounts is in that 15% area. 10% is any new credit that you're opening. When you do the inquiries, like your hard queries, like you're applying for credit at a store or things of that nature. Anytime you initiate that to open new credit, that's going to be a hard inquiry. That's 10. Those are 10%. If you're shopping around for mortgages or car rates, if you're going to buy a car, you want to make sure you do that in a 30-day period. So they don't look at it if they see that it's close together, then they kind of get a sense that you're shopping around and you're not just opening multiple or applying for multiple accounts just to be having multiple accounts. And then the last 10% is your credit mix. That's your mix of different types of credit, such as your installment accounts, which are accounts where you pay the same amount every month, and then once you finish, those are closed out. And then there's your revolving accounts, which are your credit card accounts. Those accounts, they never close out unless you initiate to close or a company contacts you and say, hey, there's no activity, we're going to close this account on you. What happens with those revolving accounts, once you use up a certain amount, then it's available and you pay it off, then that amount is available to you again. That's why it's called revolving. So when you have a mix of installments and revolving, they consider that a good thing actually. But I can tell you how that has hurt individuals' credit scores, particularly mine. But we'll get back to that. But now that you know what makes up your credit score, where the biggest weights are, there is a process by which you should follow in order of preference as to which areas to tackle first. But the first thing you need to do is order your credit report, because you have to know what you're working with. I mean, in order to know where you're going, you got to know, okay, what's your current status? What are your accounts? What's on my report? And you can get those reports from, get a free report every year from all the 3 agencies, again, at annualcreditreport.com. There's other places you can get reports that may charge you. There's other websites that sound like Annual Credit Report. It's called freecreditreport.com. It may be free, but then there's going to be a lot of add-ons and offerings and things of that nature. So the best place to get it is the federally sponsored site, which is annualcreditreport.com. And then if you can also get a free report if you've ever been denied credit you can get a free report, and you would get those directly from the agencies themselves, Experian, TransUnion, and gosh, I'm drawing a blank. Can you believe Experian? Funny. So anyhow, so if you're unemployed or if you're receiving government assistance, you may also be able to get a free credit report as well. Now, if you've already used up your free credit reports, and you can get them also directly from the agencies, but there will be a charge for those that you order directly from those if you don't fit in any of those categories where you're entitled to a free report. You want to get all three reports. Why? Because when you're going to prepare your report, different creditors may report to different agencies because they have to pay, to use these different credit agencies or credit bureaus. So, they may work with one, or they may work with two, or they may work with all three. Sometimes the timing is different when things are reported on your reports. So you want to make sure that you get something from all three and compare all three, so that you can clean up any disputes or discrepancies that may show up on your reports. After that, you got all your reports, then you're ready to start doing some review. So you're going to review. What are you looking for when you're looking at your credit report that you receive? You're going to decide what needs to be repaired. You're looking for incorrect information, accounts that aren't yours. That's typical. That sometimes there will be accounts on there that's not really your accounts. Things that have been reported late that weren't really late. Of course, you're going to have, when you're disputing, you're going to have some type of supporting documentation for all of this. Past due accounts that were charged off. Now, that's a really big hit to your credit report. Anything that's been charged off is over 180 days is susceptible to being charged off or sent to collections. And also, you want to look at your maxed out accounts, see where you are on your credit limits, because that also has a huge effect. That's in that 35% bracket as well. Dispute. Now, once you've identified, you checked all those things, once you've identified what needs to be repaired, then you're going to do a dispute. And you can dispute items. That's basically just saying, hey, this is on my report. I don't agree with it, and here's why. So your here's why is going to be your written statement and any supporting documentation that you may have that you're going to submit along with your dispute. Most common ways that are disputed, people will dispute online, although not everything can be disputed online and in writing, and you can even dispute over the phone. I do not recommend over the phone, and I also do not recommend online. I recommend that you send your letter to the agencies, whichever three agency is showing a dispute. You have to do them all separately because they don't really talk to each other like that in that regard. So you will send your letter. Now you're saying, well, how do I know what kind of letter to send? What do I send? It's just like a memo you would write to anyone else, trying to justify something. But there are some templates that you can use. If you've never visited the website that's sponsored by the federal government, the Consumer Finance and Protection Board, it's consumerfinance.gov. They have form letters on there that you can use. As a matter of fact, this website is a wealth of resources for anything personal finance related, credit, debt. There's templates, there's links to other helpful sites, there's webinars on there that you can take. Anything you want to know about personal finance, and the information is not biased in the sense that no company or business is sponsoring the information, or bank or financial institution that would lean you toward their products or services. This is an unbiased website built specifically for helping consumers make informed financial decisions. It has stuff on there about investments. So I encourage you to go to that website frequently and use the resources that are available. That's consumerfinance.gov. So make sure you go to that, check that out. So now you're disputing your reports. You identify your errors. And again, I recommend getting like a certified letter so that you will know that they received it. And that's important too, because when you dispute an item, they have between 30 and 45 days to rectify it. So you want to make sure if you have that certified letter, that's kind of like a date stamp of when they got it. And then you'll also note when you sent it, when they received it. And so when they start working with your number of days, you want to make sure that you're within that time frame, that they've corrected your issue. So send it through the mail, no phone, no online. Include a copy of your credit report when you send it. Keep a copy for yourself, but also send a copy to them. And what I like to tell people to do is, like, on the report, go ahead and highlight those areas that you're disputing. Mainly for you, so you'll know, and also so they can just readily say, "Oh, go to right to it," and do what it is that they need to do. Now, make sure you include all the information that's necessary, and the Consumer Finance website will tell you what needs to be included. It'll be on the forms that are available. Because if you don't include all the information, what happens sometimes, they think these are frivolous claims. And then also I suggest that people kind of spread out the disputes. Like, if you send a whole bunch at once, sometimes this is a signal, because this is what some of the shady credit repair services will do. Not all, but some of the shady repair services, that's their way of saying, yeah, we can raise your credit score 200 points. And what happens, they'll bombard them with a bunch of frivolous, just disputing everything on your report. And when the agency gets those, they have to take those off, pending investigation. So within that month period, when they remove that, of course, your credit score may be bumped up. And that's the 200, whatever they're promising you, these agencies, these credit repair, the shady ones are doing. So they're disputing everything. You get a bump in your score. You pay them $325 or whatever it is. They've done what they said, but then over a period of time, as these things start coming to light, or the resolutions are found to be untrue, or the disputes are found to be untrue, then your credit score starts inching back up, starts inching back up slowly but surely. So be careful of using some of those people who make those claims. They're not false technically, but they're not true in the sense that it's kind of misleading. It's very misleading as to how they go about bumping your score up. You can also dispute directly, and actually they prefer that you do this first. The agencies that you dispute, just like your credit card company, they'll say, oh, work with the company first to see if it can be rectified, and then if not, then you go to your credit card company. Same thing here. Go directly to your creditor and see if they will resolve it and get it off your request that it be removed from your credit report. And if it's not resolved satisfactorily, then you dispute it with the different scoring agencies. So after a dispute, if it's successful, they're going to remove it from your report. If it's not removed from your report, they find that it's justifiable, it was something that was truly supposed to be on your report, then what you can do, or if you don't agree, you can write what they call just like a little letter or personal statement. The personal statement is not going to get that removed off of your report, that whatever the issue is. But what it will do, if somebody's pulling your credit, they may, and you're borderline or what have you, they may look at your statement to try to understand better about that particular account, what happened or whatever. And they may take your statement into consideration when analyzing whether or not they're going to provide you credit. So also, when you're disputing, the ones you want to tackle first, of course, are the ones that are the big ones that are in the 35% of your score, which is your payment history. Okay, so take care of all of those. You want to make sure you have all your past due accounts, get those up to being current or at least paid. So one of the worst things that's on your account, we talked about the charge-offs, would be those that are going 180 days or more. Get those resolved. Now, when I say give them resolve, bring them up to current. And remember, if you have a delinquent account and you want to bring it up to current, it just because you bring it current doesn't mean that it's going to be removed from your credit report. It may stay on there. It will stay on there for up to 7 years. But the longer that it's on there, the less impactful it is on your score. So bring them current to resolve that part of the issue. But just know that that's not going to automatically get it taken off. And then when sometimes you can settle, another way of resolving them is to settle the dispute for less money. That's also going to remain on your credit report for 7 years. Or you can try to, and I think I mentioned this in the last video, you can try to do a pay for delete claim or letter or goodwill claim. You know, hey, I've been a really good person in every other area. But whatever you do, make sure that that you get those cleared up in the best way possible. They may or may not. Just make an attempt. It doesn't hurt to try. Okay, so you can try, write the letters, whatever, but if you do nothing, you've gotten nowhere. And who knows, your letter, if it's compelling enough, may touch somebody's heart. They may be having a great day, and you know, get that taken care of for you in your favor. And you can talk directly to your creditors too, and try to negotiate work out some kind of settlement with them as well, and ask them to get that taken off. So pay accounts that pay those accounts that have already been charged off. So resolve the ones that are before 180 days before they get to charge off. But if they've made it over to charge off, then you're still responsible for paying that balance. Again, they will still be on your report for 7 years. So those are the critical areas to do when you're cleaning up your credit report. There's a lot of information, so I have to have my notes because I totally don't want to leave anything out. Then what you want to do after you take care of all your delinquent accounts, however you can get those those settled, then you want to work on your balances, because remember, that's the 30% area. We're going to 35 to 30% area of your credit score. So the quickest and most easiest way, well, I say easy, but it's a challenge for some, is to start chipping down at your balances, okay? Because that is going to lower your utilization rate. So, but you can't, you have to do that overall, like lowering your balances. You can start with one and then start with the other, but what you cannot do is like start lowering on some accounts, on some charge cards, but yet you're still charging on others. That's not going to work. You got to bring your overall balances down. That means stop the bleeding, plug the hole up in the bucket, no more charging, and just start whittling away at those balances. And that's one of the quickest ways to raise your credit score and fix your credit report. And then on your new credit, watch your new credit. We're going into the 10% areas, 15% areas. Watch your credit, how you're applying for credit. If you don't need credit, don't apply for it just to be, you're at JCPenney's or Fine Mart or Macy's or wherever you shop, and they say, hey, open this account, we'll give you 20% discount on everything you purchase today. You go to another store next week, you do the same thing. So, don't do that. Because you are getting into the areas where you may be getting yourself into or leading down a slippery slope there. The amount that they're claiming you can save because you have that card, you have a tendency, because it's just our nature, you have a tendency to use it more. So you're not really, even though you may get an upfront savings, in the long run, it's really going to cost you more, particularly if you're carrying balances. Okay, so establish your credit. Keep your credit, when we're talking about your utilization rate as well, keep that under 30%. 10% is best. Actually, 0% is best. 10% is better. 0% is best. Okay, because in having a zero, now, what's funny is I was talking about these people a couple videos ago that were going to the Credit Karma, whatever, or the how Credit Karma works, how they give you the free credit score, and it's like, well, I really can't really identify with this unless I do it. You know, it's free. They're not going to ask me for my credit card. Let me just go on and do and see what my credit score is. Get the free credit report. So I got it, and it was 831. Okay, that's in the excellent area. But I got ticked off because I'm like, why is it 831? Why isn't it 850? 850 is like the max. So I'm looking in the area, the one area where they had red, and it was not the utilization, the mix, the 10% part, the mix of your. And I'm like, well, if you don't have, you know, if you close out, not close out, but if all your balances are zero, I don't have a mortgage, which would have been an installment. I have one credit card that I use and pay off monthly. So that's probably where I got the ding at, in the area where in the area of the mix, because all I have is the one revolving account. I don't have an installment. I don't have a car payment, which would be an installment. No mortgage, that would be an installment. No like furniture store accounts, which would be installment. So all I have is the one credit card that gets paid off monthly, and they ding you for that. You know, it's like you try to do the right thing, or you think you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, and that's just their way of encouraging you. And then it gives you like those credit karmas. I didn't know, okay, if you, whatever credit score you have, they're going to give you some advice on how you can better your credit score. If you open up this account, you can better your credit score from 831. I'm not bragging. I'm just trying to give you the facts here and give you an example. You can raise your credit score by opening up this type of account. And I'm thinking, no, I don't think so. I think I'll be okay with this. I don't need to open up another account. But then I'm thinking, for individuals with lower scores, to boost your credit, you know, do this or do that, but it's really getting you more and more into debt and selling you more and more financial services. So that's how they get their money, by selling more services to people. So they'll say, yeah, we'll give you your free credit report, but they take that time to educate you. That's why those are called educational scores. They're not your FICO score. They're not the real specific score. They're called educational scores. And that's because on their sites, they're supposedly educating you about credit or what have you. But the subliminal messages that they're sending you, they're trying to sell you more financial services. So we got to be smart with things, people, when they're offering us these different services just to get our free credit score. Okay, so some of the tips that you can do when you're managing or repairing your credit: salvage what you can. You know, don't sacrifice accounts that are in good standing for those that are not. Make timely payments. Make sure that's the best way, is to make your payments on time. And I mentioned the second one: spread your disputes out over time, so it doesn't look like you're one of the credit repair services just trying to bombard them with a bunch of frivolous disputes. Be careful about closing out your accounts. Don't close your accounts out. Pay your cards off, but don't close the account, because you're going to mess up your credit utilization rate. Okay, when you close those accounts out, again, you're decreasing the available credit to you. So when you carry in balances, then your usage rate is going to be high because you got rid of all the available credit to you. So be disciplined. Don't use them, but don't close them out. Learn the things that hurt your credit score. We kind of talked about those things that are negative on your credit report. Again, if you go to consumerfinance.gov, all this information is there. And one thing to mention, that these credit repair services, and I know I'm probably making a few enemies because I know a lot of people who are in the credit repair services, and they do a viable service for those people who don't want to, or don't have the time, or don't know how to, to write the letters, or take the time out to look at their reports and things. But they cannot do anything more than what you can do. So if you really are hurting for money, you need to save your $350, DIY, do it yourself. This is how you do it. And they will tell you this on the consumerfinance.gov. And you can get a book, a typical credit book, don't have mine on my hand right now, that from Amazon by this group called Nolo, Nolo, credit, how to repair your credit. I mean, there's ways you can do, and it's, you know, not $300. It's probably $24.99. But start, I'm in the business of trying to help people be self-sufficient, be able to do things for yourself. That's going to save you money as well. If you have to get, if bankruptcy is inevitable, make that the last resort for you. You really don't want that on your credit report. If you can at all avoid that. Besides that, we're admonished, in the word it tells us, that we should pay our debt, that we shouldn't be indebted to anyone. And if we are in debt, then we should try to get out of that as quickly as like a gazelle, it compares it to, and it also says that, the person who is in debt is like a slave, the borrower is slave to the lender. And what that means is, if you're in so much debt, it's running your life. If you're a slave to somebody, then they tell you what to do. They tell you what you can't do. If you, the analogy is a slave doesn't have control over his or her own life. Someone else controls them. So when we talk about debt, that controls your life because it limits you. It tells you where you can't go. No, you can't go on vacation. No, you can't have a nice retirement. No, you can't save for your kids' college because I'm in control. The debt is in control. It becomes your master, and the Bible warns us about that. So keep your credit, manage your credit. If you have to use credit, manage it properly. Avoid going into debt if at all possible. So that you can free up your resources and be a good steward of the resources that you're given. So that's all I have for now. But what I wanted to encourage you to do, again, I have some resources that I've written. These 2 books, they're available on my website at moneymanagementwisdom.net. One is geared for millennials, Money Management Wisdom for Millennials. The other is Money Management Wisdom, 8 Steps to Living Your Best Life. And I also have a promotion going. If you go to my Money Management Wisdom Facebook page, I'm doing a promotion. So if you order either one of these books, post your selfie with the book on the Money Management Wisdom page, then you will get Money Management Wisdom. These are some cool, I love this color, the hot mustard color. It has a Money Management Wisdom on it, and then it has the website on the back. So yeah, it will be free advertising, but people need to go to the website, get the resources that are available. So that's cute. I like that color. You will also get the Pray It Forward. It's a journal where you can keep your financial notes, track how you're doing, or just, a regular journal in it, your thoughts, your notes. You get the Money Management Wisdom pen. And you also get this 30 days to taming your finance, what to do and not to do to better manage your money. I like to promote her books, Deborah Smith Pegu, because she states things very plainly. This is an easy to read little paperback. You can read this in a couple of hours. She has a lot of good tips in there. So you get that, and then there's Money Management Wisdom bookmark. So this whole little packet can be yours for simply purchasing one of these resources from the website, and then posting your selfie. And what I'll do is at the end of the month, it has to be done by, I believe it's September 27th, and I will do a drawing. And so one of you will receive this free gift packet of Money Management Wisdom stuff. All right, that's it for now. Thank you for watching the video. And next time we're going to talk about marriage and money. Okay, I'm just going to hit some hot tips there. You'll be surprised. I encourage you to have your spouse, or if you're engaged, you may want to tune in for the next video that's going to drop. It's going to be about marriage and money. Very interesting. Thank you so much. See you later.